Hey guys, hey, this is Kai Elliott from KaiElliott.com, and I'm going to talk to you guys today about the inspirational story within the New Age spirituality field and how that is New Age illness shaming. Did you know that? I bet not. Okay, so this is the reason I'm talking to you guys about this is because it's not obvious and it's a really common mistake and it's inadvertent. So people who tell the inspirational story to people with illness, conditions, or disabilities, they just don't understand that it's bad etiquette or bad manners or intactful, and they don't understand the impact that it's actually having on people who have an illness, disability, or condition. They think they're being helpful, but really they're being harmful and negative and shaming to people with these conditions, and they don't even know it. So that's why I'm doing this video, is just to educate people about why not to tell the inspirational story to people with illness, disabilities, or conditions, because it is not inspirational to us. So let me read you an example. I wrote it down so that I could describe it more succinctly for you. Okay, so telling inspirational stories and anecdotes about healing is not allowed, i.e., this is for my Facebook group. So, for example, they had the worst pain and it was right after their mother died. The such and such practitioner cured them because it was actually emotional trauma stuck in, It was actually emotional trauma stuck in the body, not an actual physical ailment. Okay, so this was another practitioner. She had told me this inspirational story, and it's very common, so this is just one example. But she told me this inspirational story of someone who had this unexplained hip pain, and it was ever since her mother died 10 years ago, and she tried everything, and nothing cured it. And she felt, it's like people who tell these stories think they're being helpful or think they're being inspiring to people with illness. Like, you can just go to a hypnotist and you will magically be cured. It's so inspirational because you don't have to suffer with your illness at all, right? Just choose to not feel your emotional trauma and you'll be fine. So that's kind of how it sounds to us when we have illness and disabilities, is that you don't believe us, you're not validating our pain isn't real, that we've made this stuff up in our head because we have mental problems or like defects with our brain or like our mental state. So it's really invalidating, it's condescending, it's rude, it's just like intactful. So just in the same way, like you wouldn't go up to somebody who has a weight problem and say, hey, I have this diet supplement for your fat problem. It's like, don't go up to people with illness, disabilities, or conditions, or just in conversation with them and insinuate that it's because of their own mental problems that they can't just choose to not feel their pain. If it were as simple as just choosing not to feel our pain or realizing suddenly that our pain isn't real, then like no one would have illness or disabilities or conditions. So it's not that easy, and it shifts the blame onto the person with the illness or condition. So let me read what I wrote about why that is illness shaming. Okay. This shifts blame to the person with an illness and is actually implied you are making up your pain. The pain is not real. You have mental problems. You can choose to get better. Just choose it. For obvious reasons, this is not allowed in this group, and any statement that shifts blame to the person with a condition or implies that they have some sort of mindset, emotional, or mental problem is not allowed. So you can see how just implying somebody has a mental or emotional problem could be condescending and could be not helpful and just kind of rude. So the point in what I do, the point in my body positivity work in the New Age spirituality field is to educate people. It's not necessarily to call people out. The lady who told me this story, she was well-meaning, she was well-intentioned. She didn't understand that it was unhelpful, that it was rude, that it was shaming. She just didn't understand because she's never had to deal with an illness, disability, or condition herself. And until you've had that experience personally, it's very hard for some people to put themselves in the shoes of someone who may be having that experience. And then they kind of resort to these things that are shaming and put down. So just like we've educated ourselves in our society as in regards to people like trans people, like people with other sexual orientations or identities, just like we've educated ourselves to eradicate racism, sexism, this sort of thing. We need to do the same thing with illness. We need to educate ourselves the ways that we are putting people down, the way that we are treating them as if we're not equal or as if we are less than, the ways that we are subtly shaming people. So in the New Age spirituality, we're all about good energy. Most of the people who say and do these things are energy healers, they're coaches, they're spiritual people at a yoga class. So the whole idea is keeping our energy high vibe and clear and compassionate. And we can do that by educating ourselves about what New Age illness shaming is, not doing it, and then replacing it with body positivity and compassion. So focusing on other things besides the person's ailment, like focusing on something good, right? Not talking about it at all. Just don't tell the inspirational story at all. Just realize it's not inspirational. And yeah, I think that's my tip for today. I hope that helps you understand how the inspirational story is not inspirational to people with illness, disabilities, or conditions in the New Age spirituality field. And I would appreciate it if you could support my work on patreon.com/Kai Elliott. You can support my writing on body positivity for illness in the New Age spirituality field for as little as $1 a month. And it all adds up. So I appreciate my patrons and supporters, and I encourage you to do so as well if you support equality, love, and compassion for people with illnesses, disabilities, or conditions. Thanks. Bye.